In this video, we'll take a closer look at how the window container works and show you how to use it to build flexible, responsive layouts. The window container represents the boundaries of the browser viewport. When you use the window container attachment, elements snap to the edges of the browser window rather than to the layout grid. Here we have a block that contains a menu and a logo. Currently, these elements are attached to the grid container. This means that whenever the screen size changes, the logo and menu remain centered within the 1200 pixel container, with additional spacing appearing on the sides when the browser window is wider. Now imagine we want the logo to always snap to the top left corner of the browser window and the menu to snap to the top right corner, regardless of screen size. In this case, they should not be constrained by the grid, but instead snap to the browser window edges with no extra side spacing. To do this, go to Zero Block, select an element, go to Element Settings, and switch the container type from Grid Container to Window Container. You'll now see the Window Relative Indicator, which shows that the element is anchored to the browser window rather than the grid. Once you do that, the element's positioning along the X and Y axes changes automatically, so you'll need to move the logo manually or re-enter the X and Y values based on the offsets you want to achieve. The element will reposition accordingly. I'll repeat the same steps for the menu. Let's check out the changes. Regardless of the browser window size, the logo always snaps to the top left corner of the window, and the menu snaps to the top right corner. Let's explore this setting using other elements as an example. In the same block, I have a heading and a description that should always snap to the bottom edge of the screen. To achieve this, I'll select the heading, switch the container type to the window container, and change the positioning along the X and Y axes. By default, the elements are attached to the top left corner, but I need to attach the heading to the bottom left corner. To do this, I'll keep left for the X axis and set bottom for the Y axis. Then I'll enter a new Y axis value to create a 40 pixel offset. I'll repeat the same steps for the description. Let's save the changes, publish the page, and check out the result. Now, you'll notice the difference in how elements behave when they are attached to the grid container versus elements attached to the window container. If I want the block to always take up 100% of the browser window height, I can set this up using the window container settings as well. To do this, go to Artboard Settings and set the window container height to 100%. Then set the Grid Container Align in Window option to top, center, bottom, or stretch. By default, the alignment is set to center. However, if you're creating a navigation bar, for example, it would make more sense to set the alignment to top. If you want the block to occupy only part of the screen, for example, half of it, you should set the grid container height to 50%. Finally, let's take a look at how to use the window container to create an element that changes its size based on the browser window width. Here I have a block with a form and I want half of the screen to always be pink. I've added a shape and set its background color to pink. Now let's go to the element settings and switch the container type to the window container. Then set the X-axis attachment to the right and the Y-axis attachment to the center. For the width and height, instead of using pixels, I'll use percentages. 50% for the width and 100% for the height. Let's publish the changes and check out the result. We've covered what the window container is and how you can use it to create responsive layouts in Zero Block. You can find more resources on working with Zero Block in Tilda's Help Center. Good luck!